There are words that strip you of power the moment they leave your mouth. Words that turn predators into prey. Words that Machiavelli warned would cost you everything. Two of them are particularly lethal. I'm sorry. This is not about manners. This is not about morality. This is about survival in a world that devours the apologetic and crowns the unapologetic. What you're about to hear has been whispered in palaces, boardrooms, and behind closed doors for 5 centuries. The ones who never say sorry are the ones who rule. The ones who apologize repeatedly are the ones who serve. You're about to learn why apologizing is the fastest way to surrender your power, your respect, and your position. And by the end of this, you'll never see an apology the same way again. If you've ever felt that sinking feeling after saying sorry, if you've noticed people respect you less after you apologize, if you've watched someone refuse to apologize and somehow gain more influence because of it, then what comes next will rewire everything you thought you knew about power. Subscribe now, because this channel doesn't teach you how to be liked. It teaches you how to be inevitable. And the inevitable never apologize. Picture a throne room in 1503. A duke stands before his advisors. He has made a decision that cost lives. His advisors wait for contrition. They wait for regret. They wait for the words that will confirm he is human, fallible, weak. He says nothing. Days pass. Whispers spread. Still, he says nothing. A month later, the same advisors who wanted an apology now defend his decision in public. They have filled the silence with their own justifications. They have become complicit. He never said sorry. He never explained. And because of that, they couldn't abandon him without abandoning themselves. This is the first law. When you apologize, you give others permission to judge you. When you stay silent, they judge themselves. Machiavelli understood something most people spend their entire lives refusing to see. An apology is not an act of strength. It's a transfer of power. Every time you say I'm sorry, you are handing the other person a weapon and kneeling before them. You are saying, you were right, I was wrong, and now I owe you. You have just made yourself a debtor in a relationship that may have been equal moments before. Worse, you've created a precedent. Now they expect it. Now they know you fold. The person who apologizes first loses frame. The person who never apologizes controls the frame entirely. And frame is everything. Comment below right now. Have you ever apologized for something and immediately regretted it? Did the other person respect you more or less afterward? Share your story, because what you're about to discover will explain exactly why that happened. Let me take you to Renaissance Florence. Cesare Borgia, the man Machiavelli studied obsessively, once had a commander betray him. The commander expected execution. Instead, Borgia invited him to dinner. No accusation. No apology demanded. Just cold politeness. The commander, unnerved by the absence of reaction, began apologizing unprompted. He explained, justified, groveled. Borgia listened in silence. By the end of the night, the commander had confessed to 3 other conspiracies Borgia didn't even know about. Then Borgia had him killed. The lesson. The man who apologizes reveals his guilt, his fears, and his vulnerabilities all at once. Borgia never apologized for the execution. He never explained it. And no one ever betrayed him the same way again. Now ask yourself this. When was the last time you saw someone powerful apologize and remain powerful? Think carefully. Politicians who apologize lose elections. CEOs who apologize get replaced. Celebrities who apologize get devoured by the crowd that once loved them. But the ones who double down, the ones who refuse to bend, they survive. Often, they thrive. This is not a moral statement. This is an observation of reality. Apologies might serve relationships in private. But in the theater of power, they are blood in the water. Here's the tension you're feeling right now. Part of you knows I'm right. Part of you is resisting. You were raised to believe apologies are noble, that they show maturity, that they repair trust. And maybe, in the quiet intimacy of love and friendship, they do. But we're not talking about your grandmother or your partner. We're talking about the world beyond your living room. The world of status, reputation, leverage, and perception. In that world, the apology is a confession. And confessions are rarely forgiven. They are stored. They are used. They are weaponized. If you're starting to feel the ground shift beneath your beliefs, good. Hit subscribe. Because this is only the beginning. Let me show you the mechanics. When you apologize, 3 things happen simultaneously. First, you admit fault. Second, you grant the other person moral authority over you. Third, you open the door for them to demand more. An apology is never the end. It's the beginning of a negotiation where you've already lost leverage. The other person now has the right to accept or reject your apology. They have the right to tell you what you must do to earn forgiveness. You have given them the keys to your dignity. And most people, whether they admit it or not, will use those keys. Think about a recent public apology. A celebrity, a politician, anyone. What happened next? Did the mob forgive them? Or did the mob smell weakness and demand more? More groveling. More explanations. More symbolic sacrifices. The apology didn't end the crisis. It fed it. Because an apology is a gift to your enemies and a puzzle to your allies. Your enemies use it to destroy you. Your allies wonder why you folded. Both groups lose respect for you. And you, the apologizer, are left holding nothing but the hope that humiliation will buy you peace. It won't. Here's a question you need to sit with. What if the people demanding your apology don't actually want reconciliation? What if they want submission? What if the apology is not the goal, but the test? Once you apologize, they know you can be broken. They know you value their approval more than your own frame. And in that moment, you are no longer a threat. You are a resource to be managed. Drop a comment. Tell me about a time someone demanded an apology from you. Did giving it make things better, or did it make them push harder? Machiavelli wrote that men judge more by their eyes than by their hands. Meaning, people believe what they see, not what they touch. When they see you apologize, they see weakness. It doesn't matter if you were wrong. It doesn't matter if the apology was noble. What matters is the image. And the image of a person on their knees is not the image of a ruler. It's the image of the ruled. Now let's go deeper. There is a difference between an apology and a correction. A correction says, I will do better. An apology says, I was wrong and I need your forgiveness. One keeps your power. The other surrenders it. If you make a mistake, correct it. Adjust. Improve. Move forward. But the moment you frame it as an apology, you are no longer correcting a mistake. You are performing submission. And performance has an audience. That audience will remember the submission long after they forget the mistake. Consider Abraham Lincoln. During the Civil War, he made dozens of decisions that were criticized, condemned, even called tyrannical. He suspended habeas corpus. He arrested journalists. He expanded executive power in ways that horrified his opponents.
Did he apologize?
Never. He explained when necessary. He justified when strategic. But he never once handed his enemies the satisfaction of contrition. And because he refused to apologize, his enemies had to fight his ideas, not his guilt. They couldn't make him grovel, so they couldn't break him. Contrast that with leaders who apologize constantly. They think it makes them relatable. It makes them human. But what it actually does is train the public to expect capitulation. Every apology sets a precedent. Soon, people aren't asking if you'll apologize. They're demanding it. And when you don't, they call it arrogance. You've created a cycle where your power is now tied to your willingness to submit on command. That's not leadership. That's captivity. If this is hitting you differently than you expected, subscribe now. Because the deeper we go, the more dangerous this knowledge becomes. Let's address the question you're asking silently. What about when I'm actually wrong? What about when I hurt someone? Here's the Machiavellian answer. Being wrong is not the same as being weak. Acknowledge the error if you must. Make it right through action, not words. But do not grovel. Do not beg for absolution. Because the moment you do, you are no longer making amends. You are negotiating your value. And in any negotiation, the one who needs it more loses. There's a psychological principle called the Benjamin Franklin effect. Franklin once wrote that if you want someone to like you, don't do them a favor. Ask them to do you a favor. Why? Because people justify their actions retroactively. If they help you, they must like you. Otherwise, why would they help? The same mechanism works in reverse with apologies. When you apologize, you signal that the other person was right to be upset. You validate their grievance. And now, psychologically, they need to maintain that grievance to stay consistent with themselves. Your apology doesn't heal the wound. It legitimizes it. Here's the brutal truth. Most people don't want your apology. They want your submission. They want to see you lower than them, even if just for a moment. It's not about justice. It's about hierarchy. And every time you apologize, you descend one rung while they climb one. You might think you're being mature. They think they've won. Comment below. Do you think people actually forgive apologies, or do they just store them as leverage? Now let me tell you what happens in the brain when someone apologizes. Studies show that when a person receives an apology, their brain experiences a small surge of dopamine. Not because the relationship is healed, but because they have just been granted status. They have been elevated. The apologizer has lowered themselves, and the receiver has risen. It feels good. And like any dopamine hit, it's addictive. This is why some people provoke conflict just to extract apologies. It's a power game disguised as emotional honesty. Once you see this, you can't unsee it. Think about the people in your life who are always offended, always hurt, always waiting for you to say sorry. Are they sensitive? Or are they farming you for status? Every apology you give them is a hit of superiority. And the more you give, the more they need. You're not maintaining a relationship. You're feeding an addiction. Machiavelli would tell you to stop feeding it. Starve it. Let them sit in their grievance. Let them wait for the apology that never comes. One of two things will happen. Either they'll move on, and you'll discover the issue was never that serious. Or they'll escalate, and you'll discover they were never your ally to begin with. Either way, you win. Because you didn't sacrifice your frame to find out. Here's the next layer. Apologies don't just lower you in the eyes of others. They lower you in your own eyes. Every time you apologize unnecessarily, you train yourself to see your actions as wrong. You internalize guilt. You become a person who doubts themselves. And self-doubt is the slow death of power. Confident people make decisions and move on. Apologetic people make decisions and spiral. Which one do you want to be? Subscribe if you're ready to stop spiraling and start moving. Let me give you a modern example. In 2018, a major brand released an ad that offended a vocal group online. The brand apologized within 24 hours, pulled the ad, issued a statement, promised to do better. What happened next? Boycotts, protests, competitors mocking them. The apology didn't calm the storm. It confirmed guilt. It told the world, yes, we were wrong, we are weak, and we will obey. Their stock dropped. Their credibility shattered. All because they said sorry. Now compare that to a different brand the same year. They released a controversial ad. The internet erupted. And the brand said nothing. Days passed. Weeks. The controversy faded. Sales went up. Why? Because silence is not admission. Silence is strength. The people who were offended moved on to the next outrage. The people who liked the ad felt validated. And the brand never gave an inch. They understood what most don't. You cannot apologize your way into respect. You can only apologize your way out of it. Here's a micro lesson within the lesson. When you refuse to apologize, you force other people to confront their own reaction. They have to ask themselves, am I really that hurt, or am I performing? Most of the time, they realize it's performance. And performance without an audience gets boring fast. But if you apologize, you become the audience. You validate the performance. And now it continues forever. Tell me in the comments. Have you ever refused to apologize and watched the other person just drop it? Let's go back 500 years. Machiavelli watched rulers fall not because they were cruel, but because they were apologetic. They tried to please everyone. They sought forgiveness from their people, their enemies, their God. And in doing so, they revealed they served someone other than themselves. A prince who serves is not a prince. He is a servant with a crown. Machiavelli's message was clear. If you want to lead, you must be willing to be hated without apology. If you want to be loved by all, you will be respected by none. This is the tension at the heart of power. Likability versus respect. You can have one or the other. Rarely both. The apologetic are likable. The unapologetic are respected. And in the long run, respect builds empires. Likability builds nothing but dependency. Now, let's talk about the language of apologies. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I didn't mean to. My bad. These are not just phrases. They are incantations of surrender. Each one shrinks you. Each one rewrites the power dynamic. Replace them. Say instead, I see your perspective. Or, I'll handle that differently next time. Or say nothing at all. These alternatives acknowledge without submitting. They leave you intact. Here's what most people don't realize. Apologies are often demanded not because harm was done, but because boundaries were set. When you say no, when you prioritize yourself, when you refuse to comply, people feel the loss of control over you. And they frame that loss as harm. Then they demand an apology. If you give it, you've just apologized for having boundaries. You've taught them that your no is negotiable. Do that enough times, and you'll have no boundaries left. If this is rewiring the way you see your relationships, good. Subscribe and let's keep going. Let me show you the anatomy of a power move disguised as an apology. Politicians do this. Executives do this. Watch closely. They say, I'm sorry you felt that way. Notice the structure. It sounds like an apology, but it's not. It places the issue on the other person's feelings, not on the action. It's a linguistic deflection. They keep frame while appearing conciliatory. This is advanced. This is what you do when forced into a corner. You give the appearance of apology without the substance. But even better than this? Say nothing. Let them interpret your silence however they need to. Machiavelli knew that people create meaning in the absence of clarity. If you apologize, you give them the meaning. If you stay silent, they create a meaning that protects their own ego. Often, that meaning is, maybe I overreacted. Maybe it wasn't that bad. Silence lets them forgive themselves. An apology forces them to forgive you. And forgiveness is a position of power they may not want to give up. Here's the paradox. The less you apologize, the more your rare apologies mean. If you never say sorry, and then one day you do, it's an earthquake. Has weight. But if you apologize constantly, your sorry becomes noise. It means nothing. People tune it out. So even if you believe apologies have value, you should hoard them like rare currency. Spend them never, or spend them once in a lifetime. Otherwise, you're just inflating your own moral economy until your words are worthless. Drop a comment. How many times have you apologized this week? Was it necessary, or was it reflex? Now let's talk about the social cost. When you apologize publicly, you don't just lower yourself. You lower everyone associated with you. Your team, your family, your followers. They all take the hit. Because now they're associated with someone who folded. If you're a leader and you apologize, your people feel betrayed. Not because you were wrong, but because you admitted it in front of the enemy. You handed the enemy a victory. And your people have to live with that. This is why kings never apologized, even when they were wrong. Because a king's apology is a national humiliation. It says, we were led by someone weak. And if the leader is weak, what does that make the followers? This logic doesn't only apply to kings. It applies to anyone with influence. Your apology affects everyone who looks up to you. Think about that before you say sorry to make yourself feel better. Here's a tactical question. What do you do when someone demands an apology and won't let it go? You outlast them. Demanding an apology is exhausting. It requires emotional energy, social performance, and constant escalation. Most people run out of steam. If you simply refuse to engage, they either give up or reveal themselves as unreasonable. Either outcome benefits you. The key is to never show frustration. Never defend. Never explain. Just exist as if the demand was never made. This is called strategic indifference. And it is one of the most powerful tools in the Machiavellian arsenal. Subscribe now if you want more tactical breakdowns like this. This channel is a training ground for the unapologetic. Let me take you into a boardroom. A manager makes a decision that upsets the team. The team demands an apology in the next meeting. If the manager apologizes, what happens? The team now knows they can pressure him. Every future decision will be under review. The manager has lost authority. But if the manager walks in, acknowledges the concern, explains the reasoning, and moves on without apology, what happens? The team might grumble, but they respect the frame. They see someone who leads, not someone who appeases. Respect doesn't come from being sorry. It comes from being unmoved. Here's the dangerous part. Once you stop apologizing, people will test you. They'll push harder. They'll escalate their demands. They'll call you arrogant, cold, narcissistic. This is the cost. But it's a cost worth paying. Because on the other side of that test is a new relationship dynamic. One where you are not the emotional servant. You are the centered force. And people, whether they admit it or not, are drawn to centered forces. They resist them, then they respect them, then they follow them. Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." But fear is not about cruelty. It's about certainty. When people know you will not fold, will not apologize, will not break, they fear disappointing you. Not because you'll rage, but because you'll remain indifferent. Indifference is the ultimate fear. Says, "You do not affect me." And that is more terrifying than anger. Comment below. Have you ever stayed silent when someone wanted an apology, and what happened? Let me give you the neuroscience. When you apologize, your brain releases cortisol, the stress hormone. You are literally biochemically weakening yourself. When you refuse to apologize and hold your ground, your brain releases testosterone and dopamine. You feel stronger, more assured. Your body is telling you the truth your mind might resist. Apologies make you weaker. Boundaries make you stronger. Listen to your biology. Now let's go into relationships. Romantic ones. Friendships. Family. This is where people push back the hardest. They say, but relationships require apologies. Do they? Or do they require accountability? There's a difference. Accountability says, I see the impact, I will adjust. Apology says, I need you to forgive me so I can feel okay about myself. One is mature. The other is needy. If you hurt someone you love, show them through changed behavior. Don't perform guilt. Don't beg for absolution. Respect them enough to just do better. Here's the test. If your apology requires their acceptance to be complete, it's not an apology. It's a plea. Real accountability doesn't need forgiveness. It just needs action. And action is always more convincing than words. Machiavelli would tell you, never let someone hold your guilt hostage. If they need you to grovel to feel powerful, they don't love you. They own you. This is where it gets uncomfortable. Some relationships are built entirely on your willingness to apologize. You're the one who always says sorry. You're the one who keeps the peace. And if you stop, the relationship might end. Good. Let it. Because that wasn't a relationship. It was a hierarchy. And you were at the bottom. If you've ever felt that, subscribe. You're in the right place. Let's go to history again. Napoleon. He invaded Russia and lost 500,000 men. Retreated in disgrace. Did he apologize to France? Never. He returned, rebuilt, and marched again. His refusal to apologize kept his legend alive. If he had groveled, he would have been forgotten. Instead, he's still studied, still quoted, still mythologized. His unapologetic nature made him immortal. Your apologies make you forgettable. Here's a framework. Before you apologize, ask 3 questions. 1. Did I violate my own values, or just someone else's expectations? 2. Will this apology actually repair something, or just make me feel less anxious? 3. Am I apologizing to restore balance, or to avoid conflict? If the answer to all 3 is the latter, don't apologize. You're about to trade power for comfort. And comfort is expensive. Let me show you what happens over time. Person A apologizes often. Person B rarely does. After a year, Person A is seen as agreeable, safe, boring. Person B is seen as difficult, strong, interesting. After 5 years, Person A has many shallow relationships. Person B has fewer relationships, but they're deep and loyal. After 10 years, Person A wonders why no one respects them. Person B is leading. This is not theory. This is pattern recognition across centuries. Tell me in the comments, who in your life never apologizes? Do you respect them more or less than those who always do? Now, the counterargument. What about empathy? What about emotional intelligence? Here's the truth they don't tell you. Empathy doesn't require apology. You can understand someone's pain without taking blame for it. Emotional intelligence is knowing when your apology helps and when it harms. Most people apologize to manage their own anxiety, not to help the other person. That's not emotional intelligence. That's emotional cowardice. Machiavelli understood that the appearance of virtue is more useful than virtue itself. You don't need to be sorry. You need to appear unbothered by not being sorry. If you can do that, people will create their own narratives. He's confident. He's principled. He doesn't bend. These narratives build your myth. And myth is more powerful than truth. Here's the micro-conflict. You're probably thinking of a specific situation right now where you think you should apologize. Maybe you already did. And you're wondering if I'm saying you were wrong to do it. I'm not saying that. I'm saying this. Every apology is a choice. And every choice has a cost. If you chose the apology, you chose the cost. Just make sure you got something worth it in return. Subscribe if you're starting to count the cost. Let's go deeper into the psychology of the unapologetic. They sleep better. They have lower anxiety. Why? Because they don't carry the burden of other people's emotions. When you apologize constantly, you take on everyone's discomfort. You become the emotional janitor. And janitors are necessary, but never respected. The unapologetic set a boundary. Your feelings are yours. Mine are mine. That boundary is not cruelty. It's clarity. Here's a story. A CEO was accused of being too harsh in a meeting. His team wanted an apology. He said, "I wasn't harsh. I was clear." If clarity feels harsh, that's something to examine in yourself. He didn't apologize. Half the team quit. The other half became the most loyal, high-performing group he ever led. The ones who stayed didn't need coddling. They needed direction. The apology would have kept the weak and alienated the strong. His refusal did the opposite. This is selection pressure. Your refusal to apologize filters your relationships. The people who need you to constantly apologize will leave. Good. They were dragging you down. The people who respect boundaries will stay. Better. They'll push you higher. Apologies keep you surrounded by the fragile. Boundaries keep you surrounded by the strong. Comment below. Have you ever lost someone because you refused to apologize? Did you lose anything valuable, or did the trash take itself out? Now let's talk about reputation. Your reputation is not built on what you do right. It's built on how you handle being told you're wrong. If you fold every time, you're known as weak. If you never fold, you're known as strong. Simple as that. People don't remember your competence. They remember your composure. And nothing destroys composure faster than an unnecessary apology. Machiavelli watched princes lose kingdoms because they apologized to rebels. The moment a ruler apologizes to a subject, the hierarchy inverts. The subject is now the moral authority. The ruler is now the penitent. And once that flip happens, it never fully flips back. Even if the ruler regains control, the memory remains. He folded once. He can fold again. That memory is a crack in the foundation. Eventually, the whole structure collapses. You are the prince of your own life. Every time you apologize to someone who hasn't earned it, you're abdicating your throne. Every time you hold frame, you're reinforcing it. Which do you want? A kingdom or a memory of one? Here's the linguistic trick they use against you. When someone says, "You owe me an apology," they're asserting a debt that doesn't exist. You don't owe anyone an apology unless you've violated a mutual agreement. And even then, what you owe is correction, not submission. The phrase itself is a power grab. Reject the premise. You owe nothing. You choose everything. Subscribe now. This is the education they don't want you to have. Let's talk about the apology industrial complex. Therapy culture. Social media. HR departments. They've all built entire systems around extracting apologies. Why? Because apologies are compliance. If they can make you apologize, they can make you obey. It's not about healing. It's about control. Notice who benefits from your apology. It's never you. It's the person or system asserting authority over you. Here's the tell. If an apology is demanded immediately, it's not about reconciliation. It's about dominance. Real hurt needs time. Real repair is slow. But the immediate demand for an apology? That's a power move. And the correct response is delay. Let them sit in it. Let them realize their demand is unreasonable. Time reveals intent. And most of the time, the intent was never about healing. It was about winning. Machiavelli would say, let them think they've won by your silence. Then move in the shadows and win in reality. Apologies are theatrics. Power is operations. Focus on the latter. Now let's address guilt. You feel guilty when you don't apologize. That guilt is not your conscience. It's your conditioning. You were trained from childhood to say sorry, to keep the peace, to make adults comfortable. That training doesn't serve you anymore. It's a leash. And the first step to power is cutting the leash, even when it feels wrong. Especially when it feels wrong. Here's the paradox. The more you apologize, the more guilt you feel. Because each apology reinforces the belief that you're doing something wrong. Stop apologizing, and over time, the guilt fades. You start to trust your own judgment. You stop seeing yourself through other people's grievances. This is liberation. It feels lonely at first. Then it feels like flight. Comment right now. When was the last time you felt guilty for not apologizing? What happened when you didn't give in? Let me take you to the ancient world. Roman emperors, Chinese dynasties, Egyptian pharaohs. None of them apologized. Ever. Not because they were cruel, but because apology was incompatible with divine authority. And while you may not claim divinity, you should claim authority over your own life. The moment you apologize to the crowd, you admit the crowd is your God. And gods are merciless. Here's the modern translation. Social media mobs demand apologies daily. Celebrities comply. And what happens? The mob grows hungrier. Because the apology is not the end. It's the beginning of the feast. They will demand you denounce yourself, your past, your friends. They will demand you perform humiliation until there's nothing left. And then they'll forget you anyway. The ones who never apologize? They're still standing. Still relevant. Still powerful. This is the lesson. You cannot feed the beast and expect it to leave you alone. Starve it. Let it rage. Let it move on. It always does. But once you feed it, it will circle back forever. Let's go into the mechanics of frame control. Frame is reality. Whoever controls the frame controls the interaction. When you apologize, you accept the other person's frame. You admit their version of reality is correct and yours is not. This is catastrophic. Instead, hold your frame. State your reality calmly. Let them react. Their reaction is their problem, not yours. This is how you lead. This is how you remain unmoved. Here's a tactical example. Someone says, "You hurt me, you need to apologize." Weak response. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." Strong response. "I see you're upset. That wasn't my intent." Then silence. You've acknowledged their emotion without accepting blame. You've held frame. They can either accept that or escalate. If they escalate, they reveal themselves. If they accept, you've maintained respect. If this is changing the way you communicate, subscribe. We're just getting started. Let's talk about the myth of closure. People say apologies bring closure. Do they? Or do they just create a new chapter of obligation? When you apologize, the other person now holds that apology. They can accept it, reject it, or hold it over you. Closure is a myth. What people actually want is for you to submit so they can feel superior. Once you see that, you stop giving them what they want, and you start keeping what you need. Your self-respect. Machiavelli wrote that men are ungrateful, fickle, and deceitful. He wasn't being cynical. He was being accurate. If you apologize expecting gratitude, you'll be disappointed. Most people will take your apology and still resent you, because the apology confirmed what they suspected. You were wrong, and wrongness sticks. The alternative: don't confirm it. Let them wonder. Uncertainty is more powerful than admission. Here's the brutal calculus. Apologizing might save a relationship short-term, but it costs you long-term respect. Not apologizing might end a relationship short-term, but it builds long-term self-respect. Which investment pays better over a lifetime? The answer is obvious if you're honest. Tell me in the comments. Would you rather keep a relationship where you have to constantly apologize, or lose it and keep your self-respect? Now let's go into a space most won't touch. What about when you're clearly, objectively wrong? You lied. You cheated. You broke a promise. Here's the Machiavellian answer. Fix it. Compensate. Make whole. But don't grovel. Groveling doesn't undo the action. It just adds humiliation to the mistake. Operate from abundance, not scarcity. I made an error. Here's the correction. Move forward. This communicates accountability without weakness. And that's the balance of power. There's a reason why the most powerful people issue statements instead of apologies. The statement controls the narrative. The apology surrenders it. A statement says, "Here's what happened, here's what's next." An apology says, "Please forgive me, I'm at your mercy." One is leadership. The other is begging. Here's the next level. When you train yourself not to apologize, you also train yourself to make fewer mistakes. Why? Because you know you won't have the crutch of sorry to fall back on. You become more intentional, more careful, more precise. The apology is a safety net. Remove it, and you learn to walk the tightrope better. Subscribe if you're ready to walk without a net. Let me show you the social dynamics. In any group, there's a hierarchy. The person who apologizes the least is usually at the top. The person who apologizes the most is at the bottom. This isn't cruelty. It's observation. Test it. Watch your friend group, your workplace, your family. Who apologizes constantly? Where are they in the pecking order? Who never does? Where are they? The correlation is undeniable. Now here's the trap. If you're at the bottom and you start refusing to apologize, the group will resist. They'll call you arrogant. They'll ostracize you. This is the test. Hold frame anyway. Either the group adjusts and you rise, or you leave and find a group that respects boundaries. Both outcomes are better than staying at the bottom. Machiavelli knew that changing your position in a hierarchy is always met with resistance. The system wants you where you are. Your refusal to apologize disrupts the system. and disruption is how you climb. Comment below. Have you ever noticed that the people at the top apologize way less than everyone else? Here's the final philosophical layer. Apologies assume you need external validation to be whole. They assume your worth is determined by someone else's acceptance. This is a slave mentality. A free person says, "I acted according to my values. If that harmed you, I'll correct the action. But I don't need your forgiveness to live with myself." That's sovereignty. That's self-possession. That's power. The apologetic live in a constant state of debt. They owe the world their guilt. The unapologetic live in a state of equity. They owe nothing but honesty and action. Which state do you want to live in? Let me take you to a duel. Two men. One apologizes for a slight. The other refuses. They fight anyway. Who wins? Often, the one who refused. Because he went into the fight with certainty. The one who apologized went in already doubting himself. His apology was a psychological concession before the first blow. Your apologies are pre-fight concessions. Stop conceding before the battle starts. Here's the modern duel. A debate. An argument. A negotiation. If you apologize early, you've already lost ground. The other side smells blood. They press harder. But if you never apologize, never concede, you force them to fight your frame the entire time. Most people exhaust themselves fighting someone who won't bend. You win by attrition. Subscribe now if you want to learn how to win every frame battle. Let's talk about the long game. Your reputation is built over years. Every apology is a brick removed from your foundation. Every refusal to apologize is a brick added. After a decade, one person has a fortress. The other has rubble. Which are you building? Machiavelli's prince was not loved by all, but he was feared and respected by those who mattered. His legacy was not comfort. It was order, power, continuity. Your legacy won't be, "He was nice." It will be, "He was unmoved." And unmoved men build things that last. Here's the uncomfortable question. How many apologies have you given that you didn't mean? How many times did you say sorry just to end the discomfort? Every false apology is a lie. And liars lose trust, even when the lie is "I'm sorry." If you didn't mean it, you just taught the other person that your words are empty. Congratulations. You've devalued your own currency. The alternative is brutal honesty. "I'm not sorry. I'd do it again." Or, "I regret the outcome, but not the decision." These statements have weight. They can't be dismissed. They force the other person to contend with your actual position, not a performance of guilt. Comment below. Have you ever given a fake apology just to shut someone up? How did that work out? Let's go into leadership. If you're leading anything, a team, a family, a business, your apologies set the culture. If you apologize for every decision that upsets someone, you create a culture of complaint. Everyone learns that if they're upset enough, you'll fold. Soon, you're not leading. You're mediating. And mediators don't build empires. But if you make decisions and stand by them, you create a culture of trust. People might not like every decision, but they trust that you won't abandon your principles for comfort. That trust is more valuable than approval. Approval fades. Trust compounds. Here's the test of a leader. Can you hold a position while people are angry? Can you let them be upset without collapsing into apology? If yes, you can lead. If no, you'll be managed by the emotions of others your whole life. Machiavelli watched ineffective rulers try to make everyone happy. They apologized to the nobles, to the church, to the people, and in trying to please all, they weakened their position with each. A strong prince chose a side and held it. He made enemies, yes, but he also made allies who knew he wouldn't abandon them. Loyalty is built on certainty, not apology. If this is resonating, subscribe. The algorithm doesn't reward depth, but we're building something deeper here. Now let's address forgiveness. The paradox is this. The less you apologize, the more you're forgiven. Why? Because forgiveness is easier when it's not demanded. When you don't grovel, people forgive you in their own time, on their own terms. It feels like their choice. But when you beg for forgiveness, it feels like obligation. And obligation breeds resentment. Your apology can actually prevent the very forgiveness you're seeking. Here's the emotional intelligence they don't teach. Let people process without your interference. Your apology is interference. It's you inserting your guilt into their healing. Step back. Let them arrive at peace without your performance. This requires confidence. It requires trust. But it's far more effective than groveling. Let me give you a relationship example. You upset your partner. Old way, I'm so sorry, please forgive me, I'll do anything. New way, I see I hurt you. I'm going to give you space and then we'll talk when you're ready. Which one respects their autonomy? Which one makes you look desperate? The answer is clear. Desperation repels. Composure attracts. Even in conflict. Especially in conflict. Comment now. Have you ever had someone forgive you faster when you didn't apologize than when you did? Let's go into the neuroscience of respect. When someone refuses to apologize, your brain has to work harder to categorize them. Are they arrogant, confident, dangerous? That cognitive load creates fascination. You think about them more. You talk about them more. They occupy mental real estate. But when someone apologizes, your brain files them away as compliant, safe, boring. They disappear from your thoughts. If you want to be remembered, be unapologetic. This is why villains are more memorable than heroes. Heroes apologize. Villains don't. Heroes explain themselves. Villains act. Your brain is wired to track threats and mysteries, not moral paragons. Use that. Be the mystery, not the apology. Here's the dangerous idea. What if you've been apologizing your whole life not because you're kind, but because you're afraid? Afraid of conflict. Afraid of judgment. Afraid of being alone. What if every sorry was just a plea for acceptance? If that's true, then your apologies were never about the other person. They were about your fear. And fear is not a virtue. Machiavelli would tell you to face the fear. Stop using apologies as a shield. Stand in the discomfort. Let people be angry. Let them judge. Let them leave. What remains after that fire is your true foundation. And that foundation is unshakable. Subscribe if you're ready to stop hiding behind sorry. Let's deconstruct a corporate apology. A company does something controversial. PR drafts an apology. It's released. The stock still drops. The boycott continues. Why? Because the apology signaled guilt without offering power. The crowd doesn't want remorse. They want blood. The apology just confirmed there's something to bleed for. A better strategy. Double down or say nothing. Both preserve more value than the apology. This is true in personal life too. When you're accused of something, the worst thing you can do is apologize before understanding the full context. Because that apology will be used as evidence. You admitted guilt. Now everything else you say is suspect. Silence or clarification first. Apology never, or only when strategically valuable. Here's the formula. Apologize only if it increases your power or restores a relationship worth more than your pride. Everything else? Hold frame. Now the spiritual dimension. Some traditions teach that apologizing is humility. But humility is not self-degradation. True humility is knowing your limits and acting within them. Apologizing when you haven't violated your values is not humility. It's self-betrayal. And self-betrayal is the opposite of spiritual strength. Machiavelli wasn't spiritual in the traditional sense. But he understood that a man divided against himself cannot stand. Every false apology divides you. Part of you knows you shouldn't have said it. Part of you did it for peace. That division weakens you. Integration, wholeness, self-alignment, these require that you stop lying to yourself and others. And most apologies are lies. Comment below. Do you think apologizing when you don't mean it is humble or cowardly? Here's the tactic for when you're cornered. Someone demands an apology publicly. If you refuse, you look cold. If you comply, you lose power. The answer? Redirect. Say, I'm focused on solutions, not blame. Or, let's talk privately. Both moves take you out of the public execution and put you back in control. You didn't apologize, but you didn't look heartless either. This is advanced frame control. Let's go to war strategy. Generals never apologize for losses. They regroup. They adapt. They attack again. An apology in war is surrender. The same is true in the war of daily life. Every interaction is a negotiation of power. Apologizing is laying down your weapons. Don't do it unless you're actually surrendering. And if you're surrendering, ask yourself why you're in a battle you're willing to lose. Machiavelli believed that fortune favors the bold. Boldness is not recklessness. It's the refusal to submit to fear. When you refuse to apologize out of fear, you're being bold. When you apologize to avoid discomfort, you're being controlled. Which side of that line do you want to live on? Here's the identity shift. Stop seeing yourself as someone who apologizes. Start seeing yourself as someone who corrects and moves forward. The former is reactive. The latter is proactive. Reactive people are controlled by their environment. Proactive people control their environment. Language shapes identity. Change the language. Change your life. If this is the shift you've been looking for, subscribe now. Let me tell you what happens when you stop apologizing for 6 months. Month 1, people are confused. Month 2, some relationships end. Month 3, you feel lighter. Month 4, new people enter your life who respect boundaries. Month 5, you realize how much energy you wasted on guilt. Month 6, you're a different person. Stronger, clearer, free. This is not theory. This is testified experience across thousands of people who've made the shift. The first months are hard. The latter months are liberation. You're not losing relationships. You're shedding weight. Now let's go into the ethics. Is it ever wrong to refuse an apology? Yes. If you've genuinely violated your own code of honor, if you've broken a bond you value, if you've caused harm that contradicts who you want to be, then accountability is necessary. But even then, the question is not should I apologize, it's how do I make this right? Sometimes that includes an apology. Often, it doesn't. Machiavelli's ethics were outcome-based. Does this action create order or chaos? Does it build power or diminish it? Does it serve my purpose or distract from it? Apply that to apologies. Does this apology serve a purpose beyond making me feel better? If not, skip it. Here's the nuance. Apologies in private can be powerful. Apologies in public are almost always weakness. The difference is audience. In private, there's intimacy. Vulnerability has value. In public, there's performance. Vulnerability is blood sport. Choose your setting carefully. Comment below. Do you think private apologies and public apologies should be treated differently? Let's talk about children. Parents apologize to kids now. Is that good? Machiavelli would say no. Not because parents are infallible, but because children need certainty, not guilt. When a parent apologizes, the child's world becomes unstable. If the authority figure is wrong, what is right? Better to say, I'm adjusting my approach, than to say, I'm sorry. The former teaches adaptability. The latter teaches doubt. This applies to any hierarchy. Leaders can admit mistakes without apologizing. The admission is information. The apology is submission. Information is useful. Submission is destructive. Now let's go into the philosophy of regret. Regret is internal. Apology is external. You can regret a choice without apologizing for it. In fact, most mature regret involves accepting the consequences without seeking absolution. I regret it, and I'll live with it. That's power. I regret it. Please forgive me. That's dependence. Here's the Machiavellian practice. When you make a mistake, ask yourself, what did I learn? Then apply the lesson. Skip the apology tour. The lesson is the value. The apology is the tax. Don't pay taxes you don't owe. Let me give you a financial analogy. Every apology is spending social capital. If you spend it freely, you'll go bankrupt. If you hoard it and spend only on investments that return value, you'll build wealth. Treat your apologies like money. Most people are broke because they apologize like they're printing currency. Inflation makes it worthless. Subscribe if you're ready to build social wealth, not drain it. Here's the pattern you'll notice. People who demand apologies are often people who never apologize themselves. They've learned the game. They extract apologies to gain status while never lowering themselves. If you keep playing by their rules, you'll always lose. The only winning move is to stop playing. Machiavelli wrote that the lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. A prince must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. The trap is the demand for apology. The wolf is the person demanding it. Be the fox. Recognize the trap. Be the lion. Refuse to enter it. Now the existential layer. You will die one day. On your deathbed, will you remember the apologies you gave, or the stand you took? Will you be proud of the times you folded, or the times you held? Your life is the sum of your choices. Choose to be remembered as unmoved. Here's the last tactical piece. If you absolutely must apologize, do it once, do it clearly, then never mention it again. Don't repeat it. Don't revisit it. Don't let it become a running theme. One and done. This minimizes the damage. But better than that, don't apologize at all. Let me take you to the final image. A mountain. Storms rage around it. People scream at it. Demand it move. Demand it apologize for being in the way. The mountain does nothing. It stands. Eventually, the storms pass. The people leave. The mountain remains. Be the mountain. Machiavelli's prince was not loved by all. But he endured. He built. He shaped history. Your apologies will not shape history. Your refusal to break will. If you've made it this far, you're not the same person who started this video. You've seen the cost. You've felt the tension. You've questioned everything you were taught. Good. That's the beginning. Subscribe now. This channel is not for the masses. It's for the few who are willing to stand when everyone else kneels. The brutal cost of apologies is not just status or respect. It's your soul. Every time you apologize for something you don't regret, you fracture yourself. Every time you say sorry to avoid discomfort, you teach yourself that you don't matter. And a person who doesn't matter cannot lead, cannot build, cannot endure. Machiavelli's never sorry rule is not about arrogance. It's about integrity. It's about living in alignment with your values even when the world demands you bow. The world will always demand you bow. The question is, will you? Comment one last time. What's the one apology you wish you never gave? And what would you do differently now? The ones who apologize fade into history as footnotes. The ones who refuse become legends. Become the legend. Become unapologetic. Become inevitable. This is not the end. This is the beginning. You now have the knowledge. The question is, do you have the will? Subscribe and let's find out together. The path of the unapologetic is lonely at first. Then it's powerful. Then it's unstoppable. Walk it, and never look back.